Hello, everyone.
Greetings.
Greetings from Canning, Nova Scotia. I'm Kimberly, this is Brendan, and that's Kathleen.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, everybody. It's amazing to see everybody's faces. Can't tell you how excited I am to be here.
Wow.
I'm super excited. I got in the last round.
Hi, everyone. My name is Savoy, and thank you for doing this and letting me be a part of it.
This is Rich from Detroit. Glad to see everybody.
This is Susan, and here's Rebecca. She's so excited to be part of this. Yeah, you could tell. Hey.
But glad to be here. Barb from Ohio.
Yes.
I'm bringing Judith Snow into the space.
Well, welcome to virtual TSI 2020, our prototype to invent a future together. And it's pretty wonderful to see so many faces here that are familiar, new, old, good friends, new friends, all of the above. We did a little test just before we started with video, worked fine. And as you now know, life happens. So one of the links we'll be sending you shortly after this is, or you can just go to our website where you can watch the spectacular TSI 2018 and 2017 and 2019 videos that are there, and they work there. So, you know, life happens. We are about to begin, and if we're going to begin the Summer Institute, we have to begin the way we have to begin. And that would mean that we're going to begin by being drummed in by Gerima. And I'm going to share my screen, introduce, let Gerima play a little bit, and then he's gonna have a few words live because he's right here with us. But
Greetings, one and all. My name is Gerima. I want to do some drumming, which is called the Nayabingil drumming of your heartbeat. And this heartbeat gives you grounding, and the benefits of it, it gives you light, it gives you energy, and it gives you upliftment.
and now Gerima.
Yeah! The people of TSI, arise! What's up? How y'all doing? It is so good to see y'all. Very, very excited to see each and every one of you. And Yeah, I'm just glad to be here.
It's hard to imagine beginning this without that kind of resonance that is, I don't know, 100,000 years old and currently present with our world-class percussionist, and it's wonderful. Thank you, Gerima. Next is another tradition, because we have been doing land acknowledgements for some time. And today we want to do it again, every time. Because no matter where we are, whichever lands we now live on, there are first peoples, a lineage of peoples who've lived on these lands with reverence as stewards for thousands of years before the onset of colonization. We are grateful for the lands where we live. We acknowledge that with gratitude, the generosity of the original peoples who shared their wisdom and wealth in a spirit of partnership, which has been betrayed. Thus, we begin by acknowledging the trauma caused by the violence of colonization through genocide, slavery, resettlement, broken trust, broken treaties. It's time, and it's our hope that we might begin genuine healing and reconciliation, righting our relationships with each other on these amazing lands that we share as our homes.
Are so grateful to be with everyone today, and thrilled to have you all here. And we appreciate the fact that we are actually here from Canada, the US, Netherlands, New Zealand, Australia, Scotland. Type in the chat if I've missed a country in our global endeavor. And I'll just ask Jack, are we ready in a few moments to invite people into a bit of a check-in so that we can say hello to each other in small groups? Yeah?
Yeah.
Great.
And if people have done doodles, it would be great if you'd share those in your small group. And we hope you've been thinking about your intention, because in the best learning, we have to decide what our intention is in order to maximize this opportunity. And it is an opportunity to renew friendships and make some new friends. So
we have enlisted the help of our friend and colleague, Bill Rollo, from the Ontario Independent Facilitation Network and Windsor Essex Brokerage for Personal Supports, to be the Zoom technical host today. What we want to do is, we'll ask you in a moment to join a breakout group. You'll see that come up on your screen. The breakout group will be for about 12 minutes. We'd like you just to be able to share why it's important to you to be here. Let folks know where you're from and why it's important for you to be here. Make space for everyone to have a chance to speak. So it should be just about a couple minutes per person. Bill will transport us there and automatically bring us all back. So we'll have about 12 minutes. So if you are ready, Bill, you'll see the clock on the timer, and Bill, you'll let us know when we're at about 2 minutes left.
Sounds good. Are we ready to go?
Yep. Why is it important for me to be here? What's your intention coming in today? Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everyone.
anyway, so welcome to our launch of the Virtual Summer Institute. As you well know, this wasn't our plan, but COVID has cajoled us all into thinking a little differently, or a lot differently, and well beyond our usual comfortable boxes of how we work. And so what we are inventing, and this is the prototype, is a series of offerings that we hope will sustain the energy and the spirit of the Toronto Summer Institute in this new way, since we can't yet meet together and hug. And to do that, we want to honor many of our traditions and create some new rituals. So we began, as we always do, with our heartbeat, our djembe welcome with Gerima Harvey, our percussionist. And today we are honoring another tradition. For decades, since we began, John McKnight has been part of our foundation. His wisdom and energy have refreshed us year after year. And today, once again, we welcome John, who is the co-founder of Asset-Based Community Development, ABCD, and he's going to offer some thoughts and think us into the future that we face in these challenging times.
Well, welcome everybody. This is such a wonderful gathering. You know, the Institute started in 1984. And I think I've been there. I didn't come the first year. I've been there though for all the years, beginning of the second year, that's 35 years. And there are so many wonderful friends I've made because of this. And like a lot of you, what better friends could you have than people like Jack and Linda and Kathy? They have been the essential ingredient of our creating this community cake. And I've always felt every year, I spent an awful lot of time going to conferences. And yet this is the best of all. This is the Village Well for me. Once a year, I get to come to the Village Well and be refreshed. So many memories of wisdom and celebration and joy. I know many of you have been here to experience that as well. And you know, memories are very important. There's a wonderful philosopher who is also on the side, a comedian. His name is David Chappelle. And I recently heard him say, when people die, it's like a great library burning down. They knew so much. And if they live on, it will be in the memories of the people who knew them. So our memories are great libraries of many, many lives. And I'd like to remember 3 lives that I think will help get us started with basic principles of the good life that we seek. Now, I'm pretty old and I don't see very well, but I have senior moments. And so rather than trying to talk off the cuff, because this is such a wonderful group, I've taken the liberty of writing down what I would like to share. And what I would like to share is the memories of 3 people who are gone, but their lives are a big part of the libraries of my life, and I know a lot of you. The first person, let's remember, is Marsha Forest. She was a founder of the Summer Institute. And Marsha was just overflowing with life. The word I think of is vivacious. And the dictionary says that vivacious means, among other things, jazzy. And she was the jazziest person that I've ever known. More energy than I could begin to keep up with. But Marsha had a motto to guide us through these days ahead. And it was, all means all. Not some of us, not many of us, but all of us. And for Marsha, things weren't real or just or fair or joyful until the gang's all here. Now, why is all so important? I think the reason is because we all have unique gifts, different gifts. And therefore, to be complete in any way, we have to have them all in order to be creative and the best that we can be. And it takes a serious effort if we're to come together, because there are so many people who are on the edge or who are on the outside. Now, I had a great friend named Jerry Miller. He was a professor at Ohio State University and was chosen to become the director of the juvenile reformatories in Massachusetts. He did everything possible to reform his institutions, but the young people were still incredibly damaged by the experience, no matter what reform he tried. And after 3 years, Jerry decided that the worst thing that could possibly be done to those young people would be to put them in a reformatory. And therefore, if they were going to be reformed, they'd have to get out. And he's a legend because he took all the kids in 7 reformatories in Massachusetts and led them out, right? Incidentally, if you're interested in the story, he wrote about this in a book with a wonderful title, Last One Over the Wall. You might want to read it, Jerry Miller. At any rate, when he closed the first institution, he told me there were 8 cottages, and the 8th cottage, cottage 8, had the kids who were labeled worst, who were the most dangerous, they thought, or the most destructive. And Jerry said, I decided that that's where I would start. That he would bring these young people into the community first. Those who were labeled the worst came out first. And when I asked him why, he said, because with people they call the worst, if it worked, then the other cottages were easy and all downhill. So the way to get them all out was to reach to the extreme edge first and allow the community to discover the gifts of these kids and follow the community as a supporter. So if all means all, our focus should always be on enabling those furthest out of the community. Last one, turn off the lights. Another reason for all is because we need everybody's gift, especially people who've been kept out. And you know why we need them? Because we're having a party. And a party is a place of hospitality, celebration, fun, a place whose memory is filled with the wisdom of Marsha Forest. A second person we can remember and add to the library of our lives is Judith Snow, another founder of the Summer Institute. Now, some people thought that Judith lived in a wheelchair. That's nonsense. She lived in the lives of the thousands of people who came into her presence. And her motto was that the most important thing for me is to be present. Where should I be? Where you are. Because if I am not present, I will not be able to see your incredible gifts. I must be present if you are to see mine and if we are to share them. And if I am present, our friendship can grow, and then we can create a wonderful vision together. We can create a wonderful vision. So open the window and let's fly to our vision together. And when we get there, we won't have to worry about walking or chairs because we can then go anywhere. But this can never happen unless I am present. I spent a lot of time with Judith, and I never told her this, but I'll share it with you. I kept hearing this music behind me whenever I was with her. And finally, I realized that it was Tony Bennett singing "Come Fly With Me," the theme song of her life. And now we're flying on the wings of our memories of her. Finally, we can remember Pat Worth. Pat ran away from an institution when he was a teen. In the beginning, he slept on park benches, but he finally found his way into community. And when I met him, he contacted me because he knew that I had been a neighborhood organizer, and he said, I want to be an organizer. So I arranged for him to come to Chicago for a week to get training to be a neighborhood organizer. And after that experience, he decided that he wanted to organize people who had been excluded so that they could act powerfully in their own way, in their own behalf, in their own words. And he asked me to join him as he went across Canada and organized these people who had been so often excluded, and labels like developmentally disabled. And so we went from Canadian city to Canadian city, organizing new groups of people who then could speak for themselves. And when we had finished, I remember Pat saying to me, now, John, you can see that it's not disability that we suffer. We suffer disconnection. The problem with our disconnection is it doesn't work. It doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for the community. And so that's why we have to be connected and mutually share our gifts. You know, the most powerful force within us is the desire to give. And society has generally recognized that, so that if people want to give more than anything else, then the greatest punishment you could inflict on somebody is to prohibit them from giving their gifts. And we have institutionalized that, a place where you get food, where you get shelter, where you're dressed, but you can't give your gift. The name of it is prison. So if we recognize that the worst thing we can do is to deny your giving of your gift, then the most important thing is that we connect people so that their gift can be given. Now, there's a moral dimension to being able to give your gift. Because in the Bible, it says it is more blessed to give than to receive. So in a charitable world that wants to give to the lessers, the people who get the blessing aren't the lessers, it's the givers. So the connections that we mean by inclusion are those connections that say those who have been denied the opportunity to give their gifts will now come among us, right? So what Pat understood was that you have to be connected so you can have the joy of giving your gift and be blessed at the same time. So 3 memories, 3 great books on the shelves of our lives. All means all. We must be present. We must be connected. These are the great memories Marsha, Judith, and Pat have given us. And now they're in the library of our lives. And you know, each of these books ends with the same words. And the last line is always, "Come fly with me. Come fly with me." So open the window. Let's go. And look down there. Let's go there. It's, the Toronto Summer Institute. What a joy. Welcome.
John, do you want to add a few words live?
It's a wonderful place to be, all of you. We've flown here. We are here. You see right in the middle of where we are is the village well. And we're going to all drink from that well. And we're going to drink the waters of memory and the waters of possibility. So we are now circled in this magic place. We're going to be refreshed in ways that you can't imagine at the beginning. So let's go.
Thank you, John. This is a poem by William Stafford. It's called The Thread. There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread. but it can be hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. John McKnight named for us threads that animated the lives of 3 Summer Institute ancestors who we welcome to this gathering. Marsha Forest, all means all. Judith Snow, we must be present. Pat Worth, we must be connected. And if you're like me, those threads that John named have resonance with my own sense of purpose. I'll borrow another idea from Judith Snow, her idea of a great question, and we'll use that idea to guide our small group reflection. Judith said, "A great question refuses to be answered, and so it keeps leading us into deeper connections and deeper thinking. A great question refuses to be answered, and so it keeps leading us into deeper connections and deeper thinking." So our question for reflection: as we live together through these disruptive times, what are my great questions as we live together through these disruptive times? What are my great questions? And Bill, when you're ready, would you send us back, zoom us back to the small groups?
Welcome back. I want to invite a bit of a harvest from the small group conversations that we were just in. And I'd like to start to begin that by inviting people to just take a few minutes to reflect on what resonated for you in the conversation, what either bubbled up for you that you found you had to say, or someone else might have said, and share with us in the chat. It might have come up in terms of where you want to fly. It might have come up in terms of the great questions that you're holding. And it could have been just what resonated for you most from what John talked about. And we just want to try and get a bit of a chat and have people let us know. Patty Scott and Beth Mount, we're going to do just a bit of reading of some of the things that come up in the chat. But in our new adventure as well, we also want to invite that and mention that you've got an electronic blue hand if you open up the participant list. And if you would like to or would be willing to share your reflections with the whole group, if you raise your blue hand, oh, there I see you, Patty, then Bill will spotlight you, and we'd love to hear from you.
A comment from Jadine in Florida. We all seem to have a question about how we move from a place of normalizing hate and how we change that when we live in a place of privilege.
From Danietta in Cincinnati. The broader questions of who am I and who am I becoming?
From El Ruth, some tough questions. Where can I go to fall in love? Where can I go for people to fall in love with me?
From Julcia in the Netherlands, how can we be an ally to ensure people are part of the all, are present and connected?
What are the small things we can do right now to create more opportunities for connection in our incredibly isolated pandemic world?
From Mary Claire, how do we sit in the vulnerable and uncomfortable space of not knowing the answer?
What might it look like for someone who is both a Black American and living with a disability?
From Terry Williams, what are we not seeing? What are we not sensing that is preventing us in this moment from building the bigger we? And what is it that is available to us that we have yet to contribute?
From Josh in Cape Cod, how do we continue to make truly listening to people when we are moving more towards institutional mentality? Agencies know better than you do.
From Jennifer in New Jersey, what are people afraid of? From Tracy, I don't know where she's from. How can we leverage the way the world now understands loneliness as a result of the pandemic?
From Jadine in Florida, recognizing that our loved ones with disabilities are great healers. I loved hearing that, as I am aware of the lessons learned from my precious one and have witnessed his ability to touch the souls of some folks who were unreachable by others.
From Christine in Ohio, how to stay present, curious, and to find out who we need in our lives. And this isn't a question, but it's from Kimberly, and I think it's kind of sums some of this up. Being here now to play is living in the present.
So thank you so much, Beth and Patty, and everyone for those contributions that we've got in the chat, which we'll save, and helping us in our stretch and connection with each other. Is there anyone who we'd love to have some folks share with the whole? It's hard to see with multiple screens, people waving their hands. We can try that. But also, if you can find the electronic hand and you've got something that bubbled up for you to share, we'd love to hear it.
I was introduced to the idea this week of crystal balls versus rubber balls. So I guess my great question is recognizing the crystal ball moments of my life so that, you know, knowing what not to drop and break, the things that I can't get back.
Hi, this is Lois. One of the things that keeps resonating for me about living with COVID, I have a friend who's a Buddhist, and she says that in Buddhism, you are encouraged to think about death every day. And now it's just so easy. So I feel like I've become a very good Buddhist, you know, because you hear about death all the time. And I go to cemeteries on purpose so that I can talk to my dead people. My parents are buried far away, and I have some of their ashes and stuff. But, you know, I think there's something about we're being present. There's an element of being present. And you said, what are people afraid of? Some people would say death is the big one. But there's something about being present that makes me realize that it's always been this uncertain. It's just in my face right now.
I was just reflecting on the fact that being with everyone and seeing everyone is really cool on one hand, and on the other, it's a strange experience to see all your faces and not be able to do a hip bump as you're walking by, getting to your seat, or being able to have a more in-depth conversation. And so for me, there's this two-sided thing, that this is beautiful to see everyone's face, and going through the opening ceremony of TSI is such a comfort. And then there's this other little piece that's missing, because we don't get to physically touch and wink and, you know, hold eyes and all of those things that we do when we're actually at TSI. So that just bubbled up for me, and I just wanted to say that it was.
I know that being one of the expressions I've been using or I've been hearing is that we've been sent to our rooms. COVID has sent us back to our rooms. And I know for me, I've been doing things that I never had time to do before, like, you know, meditate, which has pretty much changed my life, learning how to cook with garlic and doing puzzles. And so it's put me in a place, a different place of sort of grounding, but a light grounding. And I wonder if other people are experiencing this, and if so, how that's going to affect us all as a group. Do you know what I mean? Like if everybody is doing things they've never done before, which takes them to a different place, how is that going to, I think it's going to be interesting to see how that has an effect on each other. And I just feel like it's going to be good. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, Joyce, and Bill, and Arn. Good to see you.
So what has bubbled up in reading some of the chats for me has been the issue about social isolation and how everybody is suffering from that, and how they've been able to reach out to people using technology, and for some people how difficult that doesn't work, like how that doesn't work for some people, because they really need, as Anne was saying, that personal vibe, that ability to bump into one another, that eye to eye. And so it really has me thinking, how do we help those that this doesn't work for get rid of that social isolation right now?
Hi, Angela.
Hi, Linda. Hi, everyone, the people I know and the people I don't know. So there was two different things we talked about in our group, and something I've gotten even more present to looking at the questions. So I'm in St. Paul right now, but we bought a house in Arizona, and my husband spends more time in Arizona because the climate's better for him. But he's here this week. The last couple of weeks, we've been cleaning things out a lot and like looking at what are we really going to bring to Arizona or not. And we have these tremendous number of files from the 1980s and from the 1990s. And there are all these projects I had with John and Connie and Beth and in the late 80s and 90s. And there's something that was being expressed then, which still isn't being fulfilled. So there's something that's been being said for like 35, 40, like, or more years, some vision, some dream, some reality. And then we talked about how we can celebrate. There are lots of things to celebrate. There's a lot of progress, a lot of lives that are very different. And one of the ways I'm quite present to it is that there are some younger people here. There was a younger person in our group, younger people in that are here, and it's like they're present to a different world of conversations than those of us who've been around 40 or 50 or more years, right? In terms of these particular things. So one whole thing is, what is that what is it going to take to really have that vision that was really that's been said for 40, 50 or more years, like really have that be fulfilled, and at the same time celebrate what is different, what has been accomplished. And then one of the other things we talked about in our group was this idea about all means all is what does it really mean in terms of, is it including people? Is it like, what about the people that are criminals? What about the people that are terrorists? What are the people that are whatever? What does really all means all include? So there were, I mean, we can look at the people that we don't agree with, the people whose points of view like we don't agree with. We can at least listen to people whose points of view we don't agree with, or try to understand or see the point of view, see the perspective of the people that we don't agree with. You know, here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, we had, you know, such tremendous looting, such tremendous damage, such tremendous, there were buildings that my pharmacy in a 100-year-old building was completely destroyed. My Target store was looted by 200 people. My office supply store in the neighborhood is completely gone. The liquor store in my neighborhood is completely gone. So I could see in myself the challenge, the difficulty about, like, can I really see that point of view about damage and about looting? And I can understand the anger, but in terms of that particular behavior. So what does it really mean in terms of all? Is it really all, or what? So that was another thing that we talked about in our group that is quite challenging. So in terms of being a big question. Thanks.
But, you know, we talked about a few things, and the idea that I keep coming back to is we are living life in the same way that the folks we support have been living life in their residences for so long. We're feeling isolated, we feel disconnected, and we're waiting for permission to go do the thing we want to do. And this is their life. For so many folks, this is their life every single day. And how disconcerting that is at best for people, and how angrily people are responding to that kind of control over their lives. And that occurred to me as now more as I'm listening to everybody. We spent so much time talking about social isolation and how we listen to people, and the idea that it's not just listening to people who disagree with you, but the people who disagree with you on such a fundamental level, because how you see them is that they're dehumanizing everything that you hold dear to yourselves. And lastly, the idea that we have, you know, it was brought up that the foundations that we hold on to are not there. And part of that came about, to some degree, it was a workshop that I attended on the idea that we're all living through such a trauma now through the pandemic, and we're all waiting for the next thing to go wrong. So how do you plan and how do you move forward? There is no solid footing under you. And without being political at all, we're not getting that reassuring voice for the most part from people, depending on where, especially depending on where you live, that can help us to create that solid footing so that we feel like we have the emotional capability to do the things we know we want to do.
We have two more folks, Jenny and then Kimberly Smith, and then we'll close this harvest. Thanks, Jenny.
I was really reflecting on this whole concept of presence, and really having some time during COVID to think. I felt like I was a pretty well-rounded person going into COVID, but what I realized when I had to slow down and things just kind of shut down is how disconnected I was. And so the idea of presence has really come to me, that I had to slow down in order to become reconnected or connected to the people that I've cared about. Today, I feel much more connected to people than I have in years. And the way now that I'm kind of looking at translating that is I had to slow down. So we have to slow down and spend time doing rather than thinking and talking. And sometimes just the fact of slowing down really becomes a way to get more connected, because we're very much more purposeful about it. So it just was really striking me through all of this. And then the other piece is something that John McKnight said in my group, which was Judith used to say that we have to ensure there is always a welcome at the edge in order to include everyone. because just the fact of people coming together, there will always be someone that's excluded. And how do we make sure that there's always a welcome at the edge? And that has just really struck me, is that idea of making sure there's always a welcome at the edge. And how do we do that?
Well, what's really resonating for me is this idea of being present with each other now. Like connecting now. That's what we're doing. We're connecting now. And what's interesting about this moment in our collective initiation into being human together as a community is that we're doing it inside these little boxes here. We're in these little video boxes, and I invite you to play with me just for a moment to feel what this is right now that we're in. I invite you to put your head on one side of your frame and then just follow my head. And then go over to the other side. And we can weave back and forth. We can actually play with this. And if this is difficult, if people don't have the financial means to even have access to this, and many are in that situation, a lot of the people that I work with don't have this toy to play with. But if we start to play with this toy rather than push it away and go, oh, if we play with this, maybe we might discover some interesting things. For instance, maybe I can turn the camera around and show you where I live. Maybe I can show you, for example, my spouse. That's Kathleen. Let's pretend Kathleen can't talk. Well, now I am inviting you to meet my other. And that's just by flipping the camera around. But maybe she doesn't have access to that. Maybe I can make a phone call and then I can bring her into this space with all of you. So I think this is the time to actually imagine becoming socially closer in spite of the fact that we're physically distant. I'm seeing this happen more and more and more, where there is this opportunity to park materialism and all of the troubles that come with that and embrace the now and be alive now. So that's what's rippling for me. Thanks.
Carol Blessing, you're going to get the last word and then pass it back to Jack and John McKnight.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Last word. Well, our small group, was asked to maybe just reflect a little bit because of, just kind of a summation from our small group, because it resonates. The comments that have just kind of filled the air had really were a major part of our conversation. So, Richard was asking, what will it take for old ideas to die? Like how do we do this? But a really solid part of our conversation was that how do we sustain our lifestyle of connection while in isolation? Like COVID isn't going away, winter's coming, it's more and more, people are going to be having to be inside, and how do we, leverage the opportunity that this time is offering us and kind of co-create new ways of staying connected. Because of our own beliefs in inclusion, how do we create our own pods? We need solidarity circles, and we need to really live with them. So as the gentleman before me was just talking about, and a big question that came up, and I think it's been resonating throughout all of this thread, and it's like how to bring all means all into real practice. How do we be present, and how do we be connected, so that they're nice theories and such, but at this time, how do we actually bring them to life and to light, and so I just was asked, I think, from a couple of the people in the group to just kind of connect, our small group with this larger conversation, because the bigger question of not sliding back into kind of an institutional mindset, but actually expanding our connection to one another is a need greater than ever. And, just curious about how do we do that and how do we do that well? So thank you.
Thanks very much for all the reflections in the chat, and for those who shared with the larger whole. Really deeply appreciated to hear the questions and hear what's resonating right now. And Jack, I'll pass it to you as we want to see if there are any other things that have bubbled up as you've heard them and as John McKnight has.
There's a public television station here in Chicago, and the call letters are WTW, basically. And it stands for a window into the world, a window to the world. And just in the group I was in, I realized how much more I know, because I have had this opportunity to look into 3 other windows. And the thing about when I look into those windows, I'm seeing always something I haven't seen. And I think if you really want to become a person who knows something and who ends up being wise even, it is to realize that everybody you know is a window into a different world. And when you're with them, you can see what they see. And so when you see that everybody has something to offer, you will know so much more than if you ever go to a university. But most of all, you'll gain wisdom. And that's what's ahead here. This wonderful set of windows into each other's world. And we'll grow in our knowledge and our wisdom and our care. Even if it is through a screen. So let's go ahead.
One of the traditions that we've had at the Toronto Summer Institute on the opening Saturday night is that we've had a World Cafe. We've connected with one another in small groups, and remarkable conversations have begun in those connections that Saturday night as we begin to explore what's brought us together and start conversations that matter. And we've decided in our virtual endeavor that on October 15th, the next virtual Summer Institute event, welcome back, Jack, will be a World Cafe. And so there'll be a registration posted for that event, and we'll send you out a note about that. But the next event is going to be a World Cafe. Jack, do you want to talk about the November event, or would you like me to?
So on November 12th, this is us, our prototyping, exploring how all this is going to work so we can sustain the spirit and continue some of these simulated face-to-face encounters so that we can be with each other. Anyway, so we want to start a series, Ideas That Matter. And what they will be, they'll be full of surprises, but each one will introduce, shall we say, 4 people who are doing amazing work, have a story to tell, and we anticipate that each of them will then also link to perhaps continuing discussions that they will design the time and place. So we'll have short introductions of ideas that matter on November 12th, and many of those will have ongoing opportunities for sharing with each other so we can stay in touch. That's the plan.
One of the ways that, there are a few ways that we want to close today. And I do want to ask, invite at this point, if anyone did any doodles during the breakout session or for your intentions that you might not have sent to us ahead, and you certainly wouldn't have shared what you did in the longer breakout conversation. So if you've got any doodles and anything you want to share, please send them on to us at inclusionpress@inclusion.com. And we just really wanted to extend some particular thanks to Kathy Hollins, who many of you know is going to be completely behind the scenes and helped make all the registration possible, along with Chris Curley. Thanks to you, Bill, for what you've done in the technical hosting today, and to Dave Hasbury and Patty Scott for the incredible video work that they've done. Yeah, an obvious thanks to John McKnight and John O'Brien and Beth Mount for some of the things they did, and to all of you for your contributions here. Among the contributions we invited, before Gerima drums us out and we join him in drumming, is that since her first Summer Institute in 1995, Heather Simmons has been singing at the Toronto Summer Institute. And we invited her to record a song and sing it in case she wasn't able to join us live. And she's done that. We've got a couple of people, I don't know, Danietta and Dorona, we're gonna see if we can get the 3 of you singing together the next time around. So this time we've just got Heather, but there's fond memories of Heather, Dorona, and King and Danietta Najoli singing in One Summer Institute. And Peter Lighting, we know where you are. We'll be back with you about this. But Jack, if you'll share Heather singing with us. She sang to us from Scotland, and she is a dear and beloved wise friend.
As we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts grey, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, marching, we battle too for men. For they are in the struggle, and together we will win. Our days shall not be sweated, from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, we're standing proud and tall. The rising of the people is the rising of us all. No more the drudge and idler tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.
And now, thank you, Heather, as always. And we want to bring Gerima back, and he is going to drum us all out. And by drum us all out, I mean that we invite everyone to keep a rhythm with your hand on your heart, with a pencil on your desk, with a drum if you have one, whatever works for you. But a collective thanks to everyone, an appreciation to you, John McKnight, as ever, and Gerima and your mom, Selma, who have made the video of you, which we used, and are here helping us now. So thank you. And Gerima, you're on.
How's it going, everybody? So, you know, this is a very simple week. I am so excited. Oh, yeah. If you feel like clapping your hands or stomping your feet, you know, just feel this rhythm in your heart. Yes, Carol Blessing, I see you. Yes, Michelle, I see you. Aha. Yes. Ah. Yes. Summer into 2020. John McKnight, what's up?
Thank you, Gerima.
Thank you, one and all.
Everybody, you
Great.
can please unmute, say goodbye, send a note. Gerima, thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. And bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye and hi.
Beth, hey. Hi, Beth.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Gerima.
Hey, Krista, I see you.
Hi. Hi, Katie.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody there.
Bye, my friend. We'll do lunch, okay?
Yes, we will.
Bye, Katie.
Hi, everybody. I don't want to leave.
I don't want to either. I'm staying in till the last. I think I'm the last person in. Bill, you're gonna have to kick us out of here. Oh, Joyce and Bill and Aaron. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi,
Oh, it's so
Gerima.
good to see everybody.
Hello there.
Boom, boom. Yes.
See you.
It's me. Hi. I saw you before. I got little tears in my eyes, you guys.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hi there. How are
you?
you? Thank you for that beautiful music.
Oh, yes.
This was such a beautiful time to be with all of you.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Hey,
this.
Katie.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Next
you all.
time.
Peter!
Hey, Peter!
Peter Lady!
Peter Lady! My dear brother, how are you?
I'm much better right now than I was a couple hours ago.
It's been a
No doubt.
minute, man.
Great to see you. Thanks for the drumming,
Yeah.
as always.
That time. Thank you for everything you did to open and close. It's just, it wouldn't be a Summer Institute event without you.
I am very, very thankful to do this. And hopefully when we really, really, really meet, we'll do it even livelier.
Yes.
Yep.
There will be dancing in the streets.
Yes. We'll definitely do it the real time.
Okay.